Hey everybody, hey, we're out here camped out in the middle of a dry lake bed here on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada mountains and just north of Ridgecrest, California. So we're in an area here that it's kind of a wasteland, as a lot of people would call it. It's a dust bowl. There's dust devils that come flying through here all the time when the winds really kick up, and there's even some power lines over there that don't help with the scenic part of the area, but there is some really cool stuff here. Right there, there's a 630-foot tall volcanic cinder cone, and it's called Red Hill Cinder Cone. We're going to go climb to the top of that, see what the views look like from up there. And there's also a place called Fossil Falls right over there, probably less than a mile, and we're going to go check that out. It's an old, there's no water running through it. It's an old ancient waterfall, and it went down and carved out this little canyon down there. Down the road is a place called Little Lake Overlook. There used to be a town down there. You know, you just got to look beyond this little kind of barren area and go out and explore. That's where we were just a second ago. I think the center of the cinder cone should be right up here. Oh wow. Look at all these pretty flowers up here. Amazing to find stuff like that in these unexpected places. So that's it. That's the center of the cinder cone. But we still want to get all the way to that top ridge. And there's a road, I believe, that runs around the rim there. So we'll see if we can take that up. This looks like more of a foot trail than a road. All right, I think that's all the farther we're going with the bike. It's getting a little sketchy. And actually there looks like there's a trail that leads up as we get a little higher. Look at these beautiful bushes, and this is a creosote bush, I believe. Usually don't see them with the flowers on. All right, well, like I said, this is the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada mountains that you can see right over there. And we did a hike, actually a couple hikes this past week, up to a place called Kennedy Meadows. Man, it's just gorgeous up there. The Pacific Crest Trail is up there, so we took that several times. We actually went north the one day on the PCT and then went south another day on the PCT. I mean, it's just so beautiful up there. There was a store up there called Kennedy Meadows General Store. That's where all the hikers from the Pacific Crest Trail would hang out and camp overnight there, get resupplied. They would actually be able to get their mail up there too as they're hiking on the trail. A lot of conveniences that they probably wouldn't have had back in the day when they were hiking, like getting Amazon packages up there probably and everything now. So, and man, it's hard to believe that crater just exploded. All this lava all throughout the hillside here and the surrounding area. So you can imagine the force of the explosion would have been tremendous. All right, we're not quite to the top yet, but this is a good area to view the valley below with all the dry lake bed and everything. And this valley extends all the way up to Lone Pine, Big Pine, Bishop, Mono Lakes, all the way up. You can see the highway running there, 395. Keeps going north, eventually gets up there near Lake Tahoe. So yeah, this whole area was actually a really fertile area before. Right around the 1900s, the Los Angeles Department of Water decided to come up here, and they took over the area up by Owens Lake. It was a huge lake with a big river that was running down. So they took that and they diverted it all into an aqueduct, and it's all now running down through an aqueduct to Los Angeles. And It was a pretty big controversy at the time. The farmers in the area that were using all this water and had all these crops and everything, they lost all that whenever the water department came in and essentially took their water. They actually used some dynamite to blow the aqueduct up in 1924, and it was rebuilt fairly quickly, got back online. So the farmers ended up losing the battle and the war. Oh man, the lichen growing on the rocks there really puts a lot of color to it, and it keeps getting better the higher we go. It looks like the top is going to be over there, so I wonder if I can go down the other way to that trail that would lead back to where I started, left the bike. Okay, I think this pipe here is going to signify the top. It says Red Hill on it. That must signify the peak. All right, let's go check out this view. Doing some excavation down there, and I think they may make cinder blocks out of that material. Our campsite's right over there in the dry lake bed. You can see our campers if I probably zoom in. Over there is Little Lake. We'll be going there next. Fossil Falls. There's the campground right there, Fossil Falls campground. $6 a night. We're not paying anything. It's free camping out there on the lake bed. But right on the other side is the Fossil Falls themselves that we're going to go check out. So, all right. This is an amazing view. All right, and I think I can see where other people may have come down here, but I'm not 100% sure. There's the trail, there's my bike. All right, can I climb down from here? Not the recommended path, folks. This is really steep and just not the best route. And that's why I didn't find a trail coming down this way. No one else was dumb enough to do this. Well, this is turning out to be quite the adventure. Now I got to get all the rocks out of my shoes. I think we're gonna leave her right there. I got it locked up this time. Not many people around here. This is not the main entrance. I decided to go around to a back entrance and hike to the falls this direction for that reason, because I was a little concerned about leaving my bike. So we're gonna go this way. This is part of Fossil Falls, but this isn't the main attraction. I actually read about this. This is an area to the east that is part of Fossil Falls, but the main waterfall is 70 feet. So I have not seen this before. This is kind of a treat, because I didn't even realize that I was going to be in this area. So you can see how this was eroded and made these pockets. And what they say did that was the water flowing down through the river here. The basin started, and then a stone or stones material would get into that basin, and the water would swirl it around, creating this hole. All right, here it is, Fossil Falls. I don't know if that's a 70-foot drop. That might be, I don't know, 35, 40 feet. But I guess if you look down further that way, it drops further down. So really, that's probably why they're saying it's 70 feet. Oh yeah, it's definitely probably a 70-foot drop from up there down to the bottom. Just look at that. Look at all those huge holes down there. Wow, yeah, that's a pretty big canyon. I don't think there's an easy way to get down there. Nope, that's a drop. And then there's actually another shelf over there. Let's go back up and see if we can see that shelf where it drops again. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's another big drop right there, and pretty amazing. Look at how that rock is carved right down there. So cool. And that's a huge canyon too. Look at how that just opens up. There's some people up on top of the falls over there. Check them out. It gives you a little perspective. All right, one last stop onto Little Lake Overlook. Can you hear those power lines crackling? We first came up here, we thought it was raining. It sounded like, you know, a little bit of raindrops hitting the ground, but that is actually the power lines, probably heading to Los Angeles, I'm assuming, or maybe Las Vegas, I don't know. And check these guys out. Wow. Those are pretty and scary all at the same time. So many pretty flowers out here. The desert's blooming. It's like a super bloom this year because of all the rainfall, record rainfall that California has seen. Just amazing. This is Little Lake. Pretty view, right? Very nice overlook here. And there's a few signs here. It talks about birds of Little Lake and the Native Americans in Owens Valley and some other geology information over there. But the one thing that these signs don't talk about is there was an actual town site right here. And I'm not sure exactly how many people, at least 50, maybe 100 people lived here in this town site. It was probably located right down there where you can now see there's a hunting lodge. I read that online, that's a hunting lodge. That used to be a town. And back in the early 1900s, people used to travel this highway up into Owens Valley, up into Lake Tahoe area. The vehicles back then obviously were not very efficient like they are today, so they needed gasoline, they needed auto repair, they needed water, etc. So these little towns all popped up all along this whole entire valley. There was a general store there was a hotel, there was an auto repair place, there was even a post office. So, you know, over time though, automobiles got more efficient. They didn't need to stop as frequently, so they continued up the valley, and then eventually this Route 395 kind of moved over that way a little bit, and all that was left was a frontage road that went past Little Lake. People stopped coming to Little Lake and the town diminished. There was actually even a railroad that went through this area, and by the 1980s the railroad ceased operations through the area. In 1989 the hotel burned down, and it was actually a stone motel. I got a picture that I can put up from the internet here. Pretty cool looking place. I mean, it would have been something to see back in its day. There was a guy even that I found an article he wrote about how he used to travel up here with his father and his family when he was little back in the 1940s or 50s, and they would stop at this hotel, and he remembers going into this hotel and feeling the cool air once he got inside and seeing this particular beer sign that he was enthralled with. It was a sign that had like an animated waterfall. So he just remembered that, and it was such a good memory for him. But over the years, even this guy, he after he left home and he was just traveling up into the valley to go find recreation or do whatever going up to Lake Tahoe. He never stopped back into Little Lake again. In the article, he kind of said that he felt that he was part of the demise of Little Lake. So kind of a sad little story, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not the end of the story of Little Lake. Now there is a geothermal plant back down in Ridgecrest that has just been given approval to take the water from the aquifer that feeds Little Lake. Who knows, in a few years, Little Lake may no longer exist at all. Kind of a sad ending to the video, right? But I guess the moral of the story is to appreciate places like this, because this lake may not be here in a few years whenever that geothermal plant eventually takes all the water, and this beautiful view will be no longer. So gotta appreciate the little things like Little Lake. All right, well, I think that's where we're gonna end the video, guys. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you down the road. Well, hello, Ringo. What are you doing? Oh, hi, Selena. What's going on in there, huh?